listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Friday, March 15th. It is Flannel Friday, although you did not get the memo.
I didn't. I looked at the flannel in my closet and I was like, oh, that'd be fun, but I'm not going to wear that today. And
Breaking tradition here during the winter. It's still winter.
Is it? Oh, yeah, it is for another week.
You know what else changes?
Week from yesterday.
Yeah, at the end of the season. It's also a holiday.
Party.
A party. There's a party around the corner. We're going to talk about that. A holiday that some of our neighbors might be observing. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. And we get to visit with one of our missionaries. We head to Latin America and the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. We had the chance recently to visit with Jana Engelhardt, who serves as communication specialist in Latin America and the Caribbean, specifically most of her time in the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. You'll hear her story in just a little bit in the second half of the program. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about them at cuw.edu. Well, when it's time for a good Jewish party that points to Yeshua, who do you invite? None other than Rev Kevya. I mean, Pastor Parviz.
Mazel tov.
Congregation Kaivi Shalom and Burning Bush Ministries here in St. Louis and what internationally is Burning Bush is international.
International, yeah.
And regular guest here on Thy Strong Word at 11 o'clock on KFUO.
Yeah, this is really early.
That is super early.
Yeah.
Boy.
Get up before the sun came up this morning.
It's ridiculous.
So coming up next week, next Wednesday, Thursday is a particular holiday. Tell us about this holiday.
Yeah, so Purim is coming up next week, and it's a great Lenten celebration as well. It's obviously Mordecai in the book of Esther puts on sackcloth and ashes and repents before the king's gate. So there's that Lenten theme in there, but it's also the victory of good over evil. And, Esther is the only book of the Bible that God's name is not mentioned in, and yet his fingerprints are all over this text. And so Purim is the Feast of Esther, and we get together every year and celebrate that with just making a fool of ourselves.
That sounds like fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's funny that your name is so important, and there's so much about blotting evil's name out of the Bible. Mm-hmm. And yet we are attempting to blot Haman's name out of the Bible by every time his name is read in the scriptures, we boo and stomp our feet and play with groggers, really loud noisemakers, trying to drown his name out. The irony, of course, by doing that is he is remembered, but that's neither here nor there.
For those of us not familiar with the name Haman, what is that name?
Well, Haman is the chancellor of Ahasuerus, the king of Persia, who comes to the king with a plan to eliminate the Jewish people from the kingdom. Little do they know that Esther is Jewish, and so one of the best, I think one of my favorite messianic passages is in the book of Esther, in Esther 4, where Mordecai, Esther's uncle, comes to her and says, with full confidence, deliverance for the Jews will come from another place, but now in this time and in this place, who knows that you are not in a place such as this to bring deliverance for us. And so there's this homage to the deliverance to come, and I don't know why. I mean, there's lots of speculation as to why God's name is not mentioned in the book of Esther. Probably has to do with living in a foreign land where maybe the name of Yahweh was made illegal, for all I know. But it's not mentioned, but he certainly is alluded to, and Yeshua is alluded to. And so we gobble up Haman by eating three-cornered pastries that are supposed to represent either his pocket or his hat, depending on, remember, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. But so Hamantashen's the cookie we gobble up, and we do a melodramatic reading where our kids act the fool and act out the text, and it's a lot of fun.
So what else happens during this party with the food? What other food comes? Eating,
revelry. I mean, the traditional food, of course, is the hamantash, and everything else is. We try not to, eat treif, which is, pork, but yeah, no, just food and lots of. We have a beauty contest because, of course, Esther is made beautiful with ointments for like a long period of time. Who knows what Esther must have looked like beforehand. But our little kids, dress up and do a beauty contest, and someone plays Haman, and then it gets pretty grisly. I remember one year I told the story, and we read the story right out of the text, and the tradition is you read the whole Megillah. That's where that phrase comes from. It's called Megillah is the scroll of Esther, and you read the whole scroll. So it's a long reading, and at the end, you got a lot of gore. I mean, there's killing and dying and destroying and taking over, and it's fun.
It's a good feeling.
That's right, exactly.
So in preparation for today, looking at Esther and realized it's been a while since I've read the book of Esther. So I should probably go back and read that again or listen to it. I like doing audio Bible too and listen to it. But no one probably reads it nearly as well as you do. And then I also started reading up on Hamantaschen, the little triangular cookies, and trying to find a good recipe. What's your favorite Hamantaschen? Because it seems like there are varieties of them.
I mean, I can no longer eat the poppy seed Hamantaschen, but I was weaned on poppy seeds, and so that's always been my historical favorite. I can't eat it anymore because of some old man disease, but so now I like the apricots. So, but they're all really good, and we always have a really good recipe for Hamantaschens, which is really simple. It's just a sugar cookie in a circle with a dollop of jam, and you fold it up into threes and bake it. It's not hard, but it's a lot of fun.
There's a lot of recipes on Google.
There are.
I'm totally looking this up right now.
This is probably a total abomination, but looking at them, it kind of reminded me of kolaches from our Czech friends as well, because a lot of them are filled with like fruit flavoring or fruit filling and things like that. So it looked very similar. But
keep in mind too that this kind of traditions came out of Eastern Europe. So much of those, when the diaspora happened and many of the Jews ended up settling in Eastern Europe and, the Ukraine and Poland and Czechoslovakia and all of those countries there, now Czech Republic. Those traditions, obviously those people share recipes. They just call them different things.
Mm-hmm.
So to observe Purim next week, taking place on the 20th and the 21st, we've got a little party going on too here. The folks of Apple of Isaiah, Missouri, and the congregation Kaivi Shalom have a Purim party going on next week.
Yes, we do. 6 o'clock next Friday. Now, we always do our Purim parties on the closest Friday to actual Purim. It'd be probably better to do it on Purim, but it's hard to get people to come out on a weeknight and spend all night making a fool of themselves. So Friday night, March 22nd at 6 o'clock, it's a potluck. We also, in the text of the book of Esther, it talks about how we are commanded to celebrate these days and that we should bring baskets of food for one another and also gifts for those who are in need. And so for our congregation, the baskets of food are our potluck, so it's a potluck, bring a dish to pass, and then bring something for our food bank as well. And we build our food bank from Purim as well.
And this is all taking place at Congregation Kaivi Shalom, right here in St. Louis, in the neighborhood known as Dogtown, on Clayton Avenue. So it's Friday, March 22nd, 6 to 9 p.m.
Good more or less.
More starting around 6-ish. And taking place on Friday evening. Bring a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have
I always say bring a nosh and a friend to share them with.
If you have a friend, particularly if you have a friend that
is Jewish,
this
please.
would be an opportunity.
That would be fun because there is a witness, of course. We always will tie everything to the deliverance that is promised by God, and that is, of course, Jesus. But it's still a fun, and Jewish people have a good time. They shake their noisemakers and they listen, and sometimes there's good conversations that come out of it just in the potluck and the fellowship. And everybody likes to watch me make a fool of myself, as well as the kids of our congregation, and some of them aren't so young. So
do you ever win the beauty contest?
I don't go into the beauty contest. I am simply a narrator.
No, the kids are encouraged to come dressed as their favorite character from the book of Esther as well, right?
Yeah. And we do have some costumes here at our congregation. If a kid doesn't come prepared, he won't be left out.
Sarah, what do you know what character you would go as?
Probably Esther.
Oh, shit. All
I
the
mean,
girls want to be Esther.
Of course
Right?
they do.
I would.
Well, although there's some feminists that really like to be Vashti, so
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
yeah. So she gets it. You know, she gets her 2 cents worth at the beginning. So
But then she's done, right?
then she's out of the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still be Esther.
Well, with Esther, it's done melodramatically. So the crowd, as the names are mentioned, gets, they make certain noises. And for you, it would be, ah.
Well, it's helpful for you to know if people are coming, right? And RSVP would be helpful.
So we can make sure we have enough hamantashen, but this year, trust me, we do. They're already done, so.
How should they get in touch with you?
They can either contact me at 314-645-4456 or revkevya@aol.com.
I love that email address.
I know.
It's been my favorite one ever since I've been here, like of all the guests.
The best one.
Rev Kevya.
And if you want to know a little bit more about Esther, there's a Lenten devotional on our website you can look at. And one of those weeks is devoted to Purim. So
Excellent. And that website is?
you can't spell it. It's chayvshalom.com.
We'll link it.
Yeah, CHAIV shalom.com.
Can't spell it, nor can we say it correctly as well as you do.
That's true.
The Purim Party coming up Friday, March 22nd at Congregation Kaivi Shalom right here in St. Louis. You can give them a call at 314-645-4456. Let Pastor Parviz know that you're coming to be Esther or one of the other characters in the story. And plenty of hamantashen to go around.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor
Thank you.
Parviz.
It's good to be here.
Coming up in just a little bit, we get to meet the missionary right here on the coffee hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.